Wherever you are and however you are listening, we have an incredible episode 30 of the Winning the Moment podcast with Leah Roberts. She is very vulnerable, open, and transparent. We go into some of her trauma from her childhood and how she's turned that into a catalyst for success as an adult. Stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe and enjoy the episode. Well, today is exciting. I've got Leah Roberts with me. Really fun to have her on the podcast. She's been on the Virtual GM podcast before, but it's her first time with me. And there's a fun story to how Leah and I started working together. But Leah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And Leah's a real trooper because I asked her like 2 hours ago. And you'll notice we've got coffee. It's because her only request is that I provide coffee and then she would come on. So I had to bribe her a little bit.
I'm easy.
But
yeah,
it was like $7.
Yeah.
So totally worth it.
Yeah, worth it.
So Leah is girlfriends with a good friend of mine named Ty. And Ty and I were playing golf in a tournament a few years ago. And he said, hey, my girlfriend needs to come, or she's a marketer. Like, do you guys do marketing? And I was like, well, yeah, we actually need that. And then here we are. It's been like, what, 2 years now?
2.5, maybe?
Yeah, time goes by fast.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Crazy.
And so Leah came on and did all of our marketing for Vibrant Management, which was awesome because we've never had anyone with her skill set. Ferd, if you're listening, no offense to you or Drez. Ferd is obviously better than Drez. Drez did the best he could. That wasn't his
Ferd's
expertise.
a website.
Yeah.
He's a programmer.
Yeah.
We'll give him that.
Yep. But Drez jumped in there and tried to get it figured out. But to have Leah come on board really changed so much of everything that we did for marketing in so many capacities. And of course, as every young entrepreneur wants, you wanted to have a chance for ownership. And it wasn't feasible at Vibrant, but we created a new company together called Vibrant Marketing, which is like, almost 6 months old now.
Yeah.
And so Leah and I are business partners in that, which is super fun. And we just today actually projected like our first full year of all of our goals and our financial metrics and our profitability metrics. And so it's really exciting to see this thing it's real. I mean, how many clients did we decide we have today already?
I think it was like 13.
Yeah. I mean, we're going.
Yeah.
It's the real deal. And if you count the other ones that we support, really, then it's like closer to 20 because of all the ones that.
Yeah, we've got some onboarding and stuff. That's not that number. So
pretty cool stuff.
I mean, and if you count the management clients.
That's what I'm saying.
Too.
Yeah. Because we do you guys execute all that for us too. So
I don't even know.
It's a lot. It's a big number.
23.
So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, like your backstory, and that's a loaded question. You can start wherever you want.
Yeah, where do you begin?
Wherever you want your story to start.
The pressure is on.
That's a hard question because, do you start when you were born or do you start when you're in high school?
Yeah, I remember that day.
But you've got the freedom to answer it however you like, so start it wherever you want to.
Well, I think the most interesting part of it is that I was born and raised in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then moved to Utah when I was 15, right before my junior year. I was forced
to Enterprise, right?
To Enterprise, which if you don't know what Enterprise is, like, 1,000 people? Probably less.
Oh, very small.
I mean, 1,000 if you include the outskirts, probably.
And that's 45 minutes from St. George?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vegas, born and raised. Started out kind of in the ghetto in Vegas. And then my mom got remarried we won't get into that now. She got remarried to a not nice fella.
Oh, no.
And then...
How long was she married to that guy?
Gosh, I don't know. Maybe 7 years? 8?
Oh, shit.
9?
Not nice as in like he was abusive or what?
Yeah. Yeah. He was a cruel dude.
Was he to you as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, me and my brother. So... Oh,
no. Brother's older or younger?
He's older, but then I have 2 younger siblings, so she had 2 more kids with him.
Oh, okay. Physical or verbal or all the above?
All of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all of it.
How old were you during that time?
I think she married him when I was probably like 6.
Oh, God.
And then
So you witnessed him doing it to her, and then you also got the...
No, my mom never... He was only abusive to us, kids.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, weird. It was weird. She was very passive with that.
Did she ever stick up for you guys at all?
I don't remember her doing that much. to stick up for us on that.
God, that's like, just to think when you say 6, I'm thinking Cash is 7.
Yeah.
Like if some strange adult was in my house, like abusing my child. Like
yeah. Well, it didn't happen like like at first. You know? It took probably some time to get there. Oh. So yeah. And then I think they separated.
Because your mom wanted to leave him or because he wanted to leave?
Not giving away too many specific details. I guess I can give some specifics.
Yeah.
Away.
Who cares?
It's not my story.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Yeah. It is, but fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you protecting your mom for?
One.
Yeah, you can actually.
Hey.
The FCC allows it, so that's exciting.
Yeah. If you guys know me,
yeah,
be flying.
Yeah, I wouldn't have asked
you.
That. It do be like that sometimes. Okay, so what's the story there?
What was the question again?
Why did they separate?
Oh yeah. I mean, aside from the obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Him just being psycho. I believe, really long story short, they were kind of cheating on each other.
Oh.
Yeah, so yes, I'll leave some of those details
out. Just talk about it. Who cares? No one even knows who your mom is.
Can we edit it later, potentially?
I mean, yeah, we won't, but you could.
That's true. No one knows who she is.
Yeah, no one knows.
Potentially edit it.
Okay, potentially.
Okay, so he was weird. He was cheating on her with some lady online. It was like an online gaming platform that he was cheating on her with some chick from Indiana.
Gotta watch out with those gamers.
Crazy. It was weird because I played that game too, and I interacted with that lady on the game.
No, you didn't.
I didn't know that he was having an affair with her.
Oh man, I think that was that lady's some
she's probably trying to be super nice to me. I remember her being really nice.
Wow.
Crazy. And then my mom was cheating on my stepdad. Potential edit. But cheating on my stepdad with his best friend.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's why it's on the DL.
Does he not know that happened?
No, and it's still happening.
Oh. Wait. So but they're not cheating anymore because they're not together.
No, but he's married.
Oh my!
And he's they still don't know. He doesn't know that they were ever seeing each other. So they're still seeing each other. He's been married for 30 years.
Oh my God.
Wife. Crazy. Yeah. So
You got me shook.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so hold on.
The crazy part is we'll get into that.
So your mom cheated on your stepdad with this dude and then is still now in relations with this dude, but that dude is married the whole time. And your stepdad doesn't ever know there was ever relations.
And that's his best friend, yeah.
Still best friends?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. He's a cruel motherfucker. He doesn't really have a lot of friends. So if you could consider him his best friend, sure.
Well, it doesn't sound like his friend's very nice.
No, well, he's always was nice to me, obviously.
God.
But it's weird and it's interesting. Isn't that interesting that I know this information and I knew this information as a teenager?
That's terrible. So you're carrying this. What?
He paid me. Yeah, I remember one weekend they went off to Lake Powell or something and she left. I was 16. She left me when they were separated.
Is this in Vegas or in Enterprise?
Vegas.
Wow, she left you alone in Vegas.
In Vegas, in our apartment in Vegas. Of course, I threw a party. Come on.
Duh.
Of course. But he paid me off. He paid me $500 not to open my mouth.
No. Oh my God, that's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow, I guess we're just jumping right into the trauma.
We're jumping right into the trauma. We didn't know we were going to go there.
I figured we'd end up at the trauma train at some point, just not so quickly.
Yeah. Well, you talk about, Vegas is just nothing but trauma. That's where it came from.
So at 16, you're forced with this secret.
Yeah. I was younger than that. 14. Because so they got divorced when I was a freshman in high school. So my mom got her own place. She had to get a roommate. And this roommate was a senior in high school, but she was she left her mom. It was a whole thing. Oh,
your mom, a grown-ass woman, had a roommate who was a senior in high school?
Yeah, because they worked together. But the senior in high school was emancipated.
Emancipated. Yeah.
So she wasn't living with her mom anymore. She needed somewhere to live. So it's funny because when we were living, she had to share my room. So we kind of became friends, but she got me into the whole party scene because she was so much older than me. I was only a freshman.
Oh, God.
So she was 17. I was 14.
And free.
That was where, yeah, that's where I the drinking started, smoked weed for the first time. definitely got around with the boys.
All under your mom's purview.
Yeah, well, she was busy, wasn't she?
With that dude. Mm-hmm. So did your mom ever get with another stable relationship, or was she just always this dude's side chick?
Yeah. She's had some guy friends here and there that were interested.
Yeah.
She just doesn't stray.
She just.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing that she was willing to commit so much of her life to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to be in a relationship with her.
No. And to tell your 14-year-old, for your 14-year-old to be the only person who knows about this relationship.
That's a lot of pressure on a 14. You're not equipped emotionally for that.
No. And I had just gotten my first taste of freedom. Like and I mean it when I say this, it sounds dramatic, and it is a little dramatic, but to give you an idea of what it was like to live in my stepdad's house was like living in a regime. Like he was so strict. I mean, we were like kind of slaves for him. And so it was brutal. Like, and so to have my first taste of freedom happen.
Well, and that's what usually happens, right? When you've had such restriction and then you're given the opportunity to be free, you're like, you just want to fuck shit up.
I did. Fuck shit up indeed. I did.
So what was the most traumatic experience you had with your stepfather? That's too intense. You don't have to answer that. I don't know what the answer is.
I'll give you one of them. I can't give you the most.
Okay.
That might be a little personal. I don't know if I'm ready there yet.
Listeners are probably going to just assume anyway, so you could just say
That's true.
Maybe it'd be therapeutic for you to get it out.
I could just say that there was a sexual encounter, and that's all I'll say.
Oh,
that was
terrible.
the most traumatic.
How old are you when that happened?
I think I was in 5th grade.
Oh, my
maybe
God.
4th. I can't remember. Somewhere around there.
Do you think you can't remember because you blocked it out?
No, I mean, I have the memory is ingrained in me. I just don't exactly remember how old I was.
But somewhere between 4th and 5th grade.
I think so.
God, yeah.
It's definitely elementary school.
Olivia's in 4th grade now.
Oh, yeah.
That's devastating.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
Have you done therapy to work on that stuff? Like,
yeah.
How do you heal that?
I've done talk therapy, for lack of a better word. And that was fruitful but in different ways.
Yeah.
But it was fruitful in some of the issues that I have as an adult now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, because of course that trauma is gonna, follow you around and make you make decisions.
And that's only part of it. I mean, the cheating thing, that's what's been like my biggest traumatic experience, because there's a whole history. Basically, I've never seen a healthy relationship. I've never seen a relationship where someone has not cheated on someone else my entire adult life.
Yeah.
My mom cheated on my dad multiple times, and she cheated on my stepdad. My stepdad was cheating on her.
Yeah, you didn't.
The guy
You were not modeled.
Was cheating on his wife.
You were not modeled a healthy.
Yeah, and they were telling me all of this at a young age.
Did you tell your mom what happened to you when you were so young?
Yeah. At the time, she didn't believe me.
She didn't.
Yeah, she believes me now.
So when did she finally believe you? So what would she say to you when you said what happened? And that had to be devastating.
It's foggy.
Because that is like the person who's meant to keep you safe. So to go was one, she brought this person in who made you unsafe. Mm-hmm. And then you confide in her that what's happened to you. And she accuses you of being a liar.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that she said it in those terms. But she was just like, well, I'm sure that's not what he meant to do.
Yeah,
or
you're confused.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm sure that's not what it was, type of thing. So, and then it just kind of got brushed.
God, what do you do from that point on? It's like, you're so young. How do you even...
I just avoided him. I remember always trying to, but it was hard. Like I said, it was like a regime.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to strict everything. Everything was strict. And we had to mop and sweep the floor on our hands and knees.
Wow.
With toothbrushes in the grout and stuff.
Oh my God.
I mean, he was crazy. He was absolutely crazy. I remember one time he threw my brother down the stairs because I said I wasn't going to do the dishes. And then my brother was trying to help because I was running away from him. So my brother was chasing him, and he grabbed my brother and threw him down the stairs and then finished chasing me and slapped me. I remember that. But
oh my God. Even now you laugh. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, it's probably a defense mechanism.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just saying this really fucking terrible thing. And
yeah, you know me, though. I'm not good at
I think you're doing pretty good.
No, I'm not good at these
we're only 12 minutes in. I'd say you're doing pretty great.
Never watched this, Mom.
Does a part of you hope your mom does watch it?
No, not a little bit.
Why?
Not a little bit. Well, that's another thing that came from childhood. We're not a close knit family. Like, we don't confide and like communicate like that.
Yeah, but that's a great thing. You don't have to communicate with her. You just say, listen to this.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote her a letter.
You did?
Recently to like kind of outline all of these things.
And you said all this stuff.
Yeah.
And has she responded to that?
Yeah. She basically, I said in the letter all the things I need to say, but then I closed it with, when I'm ready to like talk in person, face to face about this, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So she, her response was pretty like, yeah, makes like totally understand, let me know when you're ready type of thing. She probably said she was sorry. Something. It's been a while.
Ugh. How old's your mom now?
She's probably 50.
Okay.
Or close to it if she's not already.
And what's the relationship like with your other siblings?
Pretty good. The younger ones, I still have 3 siblings that are still in high school. So
wow, that's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. 2 separate families. So
yeah.
I'm not super tight with them just because they're so young.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with children.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you not want kids just given all that you went through?
I've always said I did not want kids. I've always said that. But
how could you though, just given what you went through? Like, that'd be an understandable, like.
Well, for sure. And if I ever did, then I would absolutely need to not finish, because the journey's never finished.
Yeah.
I don't think like the healing journey's never finished.
Yeah.
But that would need to be much more resolved.
Yeah. Don't you think you've come a long way just in the 2 years I've known you?
Well, and actually it just reminded me of something else you said. Generational trauma too. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be in a position like my mom where I'm just having kids, but I've never solved my own shit.
Yeah, you want to give that to them.
And then it passes on to my children.
Right. You got to break that chain.
Yeah, not just through the way that I'm raised, but through
your DNA. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and my grandparents, my mom, like, they didn't solve they believe Jesus solves everything. They don't do the work themselves.
Yeah.
They put it in something else's hands.
Amazing that your mom...
I know.
She must think Jesus isn't in the bedroom. I'll have to ask her. Okay, so
Jesus isn't in the shower and he's not in the bedroom.
So your stepfather did that when you were in 4th grade, and then what was the other thing you were going to say that he did?
Oh, it was my brother.
When throwing him down the stairs.
Yeah, throwing my brother down the stairs. Yeah. But there's just like,
was he
like
constantly abusive? Like frequently, like an everyday thing, or like how frequent was that?
Honestly, I don't remember too much. It was frequent enough. Like and it's funny, among the things I'm dealing with today, something I've actually recently discovered in the last couple of years, like my biggest, I don't know if it's like a phobia or I don't know what you would call it. My biggest fear is like entrapment. Like, I am terrified of being like stuck in a situation where I don't have the freedom to get out.
Interesting. So it's not even like it's not even claustrophobia.
No, it's not physical.
It's just like if someone locked you into a house and you couldn't escape.
No, it's not physical. It's like mental. Like if I
Interesting.
Like this is an extreme example, but like if you think in like World War II, where you're like in a situation where like the occupation has overtaken us and there's like nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like that powerlessness.
Wow, so you really felt like you were a prisoner of war living in that
felt
house.
like a prisoner. Yeah. And that's my big, I'll even read books now, which is the type of books I read.
Uh-huh.
Dark romance.
Yeah.
There's a few where it's triggering
yeah.
for me. There's so many dark things in dark romance books. Nothing affects me like that. When there's a scenario where their choice is taken away or they're like physically trapped and they can't get out, there's nothing they can do. That triggers me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we talked about your growth in the last couple of years, a lot of growth. You talked a little bit about talk therapy. When you say talk therapy, what do you call it that?
Because I think you could say therapy, but it could mean
okay. So talk therapy
things.
is like sitting down with a therapist and
Correct.
expressing what you feel about stuff.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing that's helped me has just been, yoga, breath work, just like internal work that I would use outside sources to help the internal work, if that makes sense. So the yoga gets you in that spiritual place. So does breath work, doing retreats, ice baths, stuff like that. Most of that, the talk therapy was good initially. It helped me figure out what the issue was and where it stems from.
Do you
and
journal
then,
or anything?
Yes, and journaling was a big one.
Yeah, because you're a writer by nature, so.
Yeah, I journal. Something else I do is a gasho. It's a Buddhist thing. So in the morning, I'll do like a morning gasho where it's just like I set my intention for the day, and then I'll write my intentions down. And then at night, at the end of the day, I'll say what I'm grateful for. And then I'll write those down.
It's amazing how powerful gratitude is. Like if you listen to anyone,
it is the strongest emotion.
Who's achieving the things you desire to achieve, odds are they're practicing gratitude in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people. And it's made a difference. And I'll feel it too. Like if I miss a few days where I don't, like I mostly always do, the morning one's called the Harmony Gasho. I mostly always do the Harmony Gasho. But there are times at night where I'm just like too tired. I'm already in bed. My yoga room is all the way across the house. I don't want to go.
The yoga room's
I
in the
want to go
West
do
Wing.
my gratitude gasho right now.
Why can't you just do it in bed?
Yeah, and I do sometimes. It's just not. It's not the same. It's like the act of like physically going there. I gotta, like you gotta turn the candle on. You gotta hit the bowl 3 times. You gotta like do your little prayer.
Oh, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, and it means so much more when you do it that way.
Well, yeah, because you're giving, like you're putting that intention out there.
Yeah, you're making that space for it.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference when I don't skip my gratitude gasho because it's the most important.
Don't skip it.
I know. I need to not.
God, why do we
I've
do
been
that
bad
shit?
lately.
Why do we do that though?
I know. Just
Like we know all the
that's
things
a
that are
loss.
good, but yeah, right? Move that bracelet. Why do we think we do that though as people? Like here's this
Laziness.
thing. Is that all that it is?
I feel like that's what it is for me.
God, it's probably what
I'm
it
just like
is.
in bed and I'm just like,
I just don't want to be lazy. I don't want to be like
the house is cold, the tile is cold.
Isn't
I
that
gotta put slippers
interesting?
on. Like, fuck. I'm not doing that shit.
It's so interesting because you would think that it'd be easier for us to be able to achieve the things we want to achieve. But even knowing the outcome is positive and knowing that like the labor isn't that hard. Like, yeah, the towel might be cold. And you
It's
gotta put
super
slippers
easy
on.
to go do it.
It's
Yeah.
not hard. But
It
yet
takes
we
like
still,
less than 5 minutes.
because I got my journal on my bedside and I've got my journal practice, but sometimes I'll just walk in there and look at it and be like,
Nah.
fuck it.
Yeah, I know. That's the same thing.
And it takes 5 minutes,
I know.
you know?
It
So,
doesn't take a lot of time.
God, you know?
It's like, but you have to like force yourself to be mindful and be in that moment. And sometimes you're not in the mood to like be mindful. You're like, I don't know what it is. If it's
Well, and even my
lazy-
journal practice isn't difficult. It's just like mine is I start with 3 things I'm grateful for. Then I do my 3 biggest wins of the day. Then I do my biggest obstacle of the day. Then I do what I have tomorrow. So that way, instead of like waking up and looking at my phone, I look at the journal. So like then I can start problem solving. And then I have like one question I want to answer. Because, they say the mind can solve things while you're sleeping. So then I put out whatever I'm working on, like on the paper. So that way I go to sleep with that question of like, what's this,
Yeah.
And then I track my bracelets. But it's like, that's not hard.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
But yet I can't.
I know. I don't know. We all do it. Why? Why do we do it?
I mean, I guess the good news is that's why I wrote the book. So
Yeah, it was just like dog ear the page that you need when you need that motivation. to
yeah,
just do it.
exactly. Okay.
But then you'll look at your book and be like, fuck it, I don't want to do that either.
I know. Oh man, the realities of life. Okay, so then you at 14 move in with an emancipated 17-year-old who's your mother's roommate. This whole story doesn't sound real.
I know, isn't it? I feel like I should write a book.
Yeah, you probably should.
I know I should.
Well, I think that there's probably, you already shared some things that are really challenging and dark. And I think that so many people have had those experiences that you don't even know. Because it's not like me knowing you outside of you getting the opportunity to open up. I would have never perceived you as like, oh, Leah's had all this past trauma, you know? So often you're engaging with someone and you're completely unaware of what their past is. But I don't think there's a lot of outlets for people to talk about that. Like, how old were you, do you think, before you even realized or vocalized, like, this reality?
That's probably only 3 years ago, honestly.
Yeah, but it wasn't with Hobo Jesus. Was that the start of it?
Oh, Jesus. That was...
Because that's how it started with me. So we'll tell the listeners.
It was a close time period. So I had started my stuff shortly before that. So probably a year into dating Ty.
Yeah.
Because we've been together for about 4 years now. So, and that was shortly after.
So Leah and I were in Ogden for the tourism conference. And there was a group of homeless guys outside this bar we were at. And I had brought out some beer for him. And I was like, you guys want a beer? We started this conversation. This gentleman introduces himself as Hobo Jesus. And I was in the process of like deciding if I was going to write the book or not. Like we had talked about it with the team. Everyone knew like this is the thing I'm aspiring to do. And Hobo Jesus tells us he can move a building, which he proceeds to try to do.
I forgot about that. He did say you could do that.
And then asked us like if we saw it.
We were like,
nah.
no. Sorry,
but then he's like, well, let me read your palms then, I think is what he said. And that's when he did mine. And he was like, oh, you're supposed to write a book, but you haven't started yet. And then that's when Leah and I were like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
like,
that was crazy.
Yeah. Like that's when we had that like, oh, wow, there is something happening here. And then I think he read your palms. And that's when he brought up.
It must have been the palms. I can't remember.
And then he brought up the trauma stuff. And like you had.
Do you remember the age range he said?
Yeah. And you hadn't shared that with me, obviously. Well, that's not something you
That was like, no, we were like coworkers. That was the beginning of
and
my
only,
relationship.
And only
with
a few
Vibrant.
months in, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And so then that put you in this like, crazy space of like, oh my God, this guy is like letting out like this trauma. And I'm right there. And you started crying, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really a powerful moment. But then that really for me was like the universe saying like, you got to write the book because it's just too serendipitous otherwise.
Yeah.
And then I felt like it was a real catalyst for you to kind of start some of your journey because it was just out there.
Yeah.
And at least with us, then it was like, well, and so we were able to openly talk about it because it was out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I hadn't like physically done any of the work yet.
At that time.
I know like in my mind, I knew the things but I just hadn't like done any of the things. I think I was actively.
Were you scared to start the things?
No, I just didn't do. I don't really remember. I have a really bad memory, but I just didn't.
You think you have a bad memory because of all the trauma that you've just decided that you're not going to have a good memory as like a defense mechanism?
Possibly.
Right? Because that would make sense.
I might also be ADHD and I get like mad brain fog. So it's probably all of it. It
would totally make sense for your body to be like, I'm gonna effectively make my memory bad to allow myself to get through all these things.
Yeah, sometimes you do. You have to put the mental blockers on just to get through it. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it might have been a catalyst. It might have been. It was definitely around that same time period where I was starting to address that stuff that I.
And at that time, you weren't doing yoga or anything, right?
No, I mean I've always done yoga just as like an exercise. I've been doing yoga for like 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, hadn't taken it any seriously, I don't think. At that time. Gosh, it's so hard to remember where I was at in that time period.
Because you started your yoga training. How long did it take you to get your certification?
I started that last year in August.
So it's just been a little over a year then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that took like 4 months. And I started teaching January.
Gosh, I can't believe that you've been teaching it for almost a year now.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
It is pretty crazy.
And you've had like some big stuff you've done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. The yoga
fest. And then even like you've done it at Wildflower and all those things. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back now. So you obviously got in trouble in Vegas at 14 because you had your new friend. So then you get taken to Enterprise. So did your mom move to Enterprise or how did you?
No. So my dad, he was living in Vegas, but my grandpa lived in Enterprise. So my dad decided to move to Enterprise.
Was your dad a part of your life up to that point at all? Like where was your dad when all this was happening?
We like always switched off like weekend type things or like
did you
live far. So
did you tell your dad what happened with your stepdad?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
You probably wouldn't have after the way your mom reacted. Because
Yeah,
then
I
you
don't
probably
think so.
have
Well,
a
it's
little bit
like
of like, did that happen?
It's such a personal thing. Oh, I totally did. And it was such a personal thing that like oftentimes I feel like, at least in my family, like I wouldn't tell these personal girl things to my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I probably didn't. But I remember I went over there a lot when like some crazy shit would go down at my stepdad's house and I would just like run to my dad's because he wasn't far from where we were.
Ugh.
But I don't remember him doing much either as far as like
protecting you.
Yeah, like
because you think if your dad knew that you were in a shitty house, he would have done anything he could to get you out of there.
Yeah, and they hated him too. They hated him. My dad and my stepmom, they hated him. But I don't know. I don't know why. I think it was always on me too. Like I think if I said, "Hey, I want to go live with my dad full time," then possibly because my brother ended up doing that when he was probably 15 or 16. He was like, "I'm done living here. I'm moving over to dad's house."
Yeah.
So he was there full time.
Why do you think you didn't?
I think it's just my bond with my mom still.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't want to leave my mom. And
Even though you didn't, would you say you had a good relationship with her or no?
I don't know.
was your
Maybe as a
mom.
kid.
She's
I
just
was
your
a
mom.
kid. She was my
Yeah.
mom. And also I had my own room. That was a big factor. I remember that. I had my own room and I would have had to share my room with my stepsister and have not, like, that's the thing with me. I like my own space. I
Yeah.
don't want to be combined yeah. So I think that was a thing too. I didn't want to share my space.
Yeah.
Even though, because a little kid mentality, I'm not thinking, oh, if I just share my space, I won't have to deal with him anymore.
Yeah.
Like
That was like the
thinking
one thing
didn't
you were in
exist.
control of. Like you had the space
Yeah,
that
like
was
this
yours.
is my room,
Yeah.
my stuff. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share my clothes.
How old was your stepsister then?
She's a year younger than me.
Okay.
We were
you
best friends.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. So, but we fought a lot too, as like kids around the same age tend to do. So, I think I just liked having my own space, and so I didn't. Little kid thinking didn't.
Who wanted to send you to Enterprise?
So it got to a point that so the roommate had moved, and so it was just me going into sophomore year. Made some friends there, and still doing stupid shit, going to parties, getting drunk, driving drunk in my mom's car. We went to hookah lounges and bars all the time. No one ID'd me. No one IDs in Vegas.
Wow.
So I think, and it's not like I did anything hard. I wasn't out there snorting cocaine or anything, but it was enough to where my mom felt like she no longer had control over me. Like I would just leave the house and not tell her where I'm going. Like there was zero control.
Were you doing your school at that time? Like were you?
Yeah, I was going to school, but
Were you doing it? Like were you actively like doing your work the way you're supposed to?
I think so. Yeah, I've always had really good grades.
Okay.
I'm a school nerd, so that's also a thing.
So
I did
you were
ditch
still
class
doing
every
that.
now and then,
Your
but I
mom
still
just
had good grades.
Your mom just didn't have any control over you.
Yeah, she wanted me to stay home and do the dishes or like do what I was told, and I would be like, no, I'm not going to, and then I would just leave.
Wow.
So I think enough of that, and I ran away the last time where my mom called my dad.
You ran away?
I ran away.
Where'd you go?
One of my friends' houses that I was like partying with and stuff. But I came back. Like I came back later that night because I was like, where am I supposed to go? I don't know. Stupid.
So did you run away or did you just go to a friend's house?
No, I ran away. Like it kind of, yeah. So I kind of it was another one of those scenarios where I just left. I was like, I'm not doing what you're saying. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
And I didn't initially have intentions of going back that night at all.
Yeah.
But I decided to anyway because she said she was going to call the cops on me if I didn't. I was like, well, I don't think that's...
My dad said that to me once too when I was younger.
And you're a little kid, so you're like, fuck, can she? Like, can I get in trouble for this?
My friends and I, this is so stupid. It was me and two of my friends, and we were like, what should we do? We didn't know what to do, so like, let's go to California and get a seashell.
A singular seashell.
Let's go to the beach, get a seashell, and we'll come back. I'm like, yeah.
What a fucking cool idea.
And so I told my parents, like, oh, we're going to California. I'm like 16 or 17. I'm a sophomore in high school. My dad's like, no, you're not. And I was like, oh yeah, it's chill. We're gonna go do that. And he's like, no. So then
That's amazing.
we're like, oh, okay, all right. So then we call him, like, hey, we're just letting you know, like, I got kidnapped. Like, they're taking me anyway, so I'll be back, you know.
Oh.
And my dad's like, you better
yeah.
turn that fucking car around right now, or I'm gonna call the police and say you were kidnapped. And you're across state lines, and so like, and so my one friend like never came back over again for like years. Because he was like, no one's telling me what to do. Like he would be at my house every day, never came over the rest of high school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's funny. Kids didn't like to come to my house because of my stepdad.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, and isn't your mom a hoarder?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's now when she had the house with my stepdad. We kept it clean. So
right.
It wasn't bad.
So who does your mom, we're totally getting off topic, but who does your mom live with right now?
She lives alone in her hoarder house.
And
well, actually, she doesn't live alone. My little brother, who's still in high school, lives there.
Okay. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. But he just plays games all the time. I don't even think he's aware of his surroundings.
Is his room at least like not hoarded?
No, his room is disgusting too.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I mean, how else would he know, right? Like that's you only know
example.
you only know what your environment is.
Yeah.
Well, how bad of hoarding are we talking? Like, is it like hoarding
have you seen
to where
the houses in Vegas where they're like tall, skinny ones, but they don't really have a lot. There's not a lot of yard. So she lives in one of those.
You just reminded me of Theo Vaughn.
With the lot.
Like, you know, one of them houses, right? And there's not a lot of grass. What would you call that? A lot. There's not a lot.
I can see that.
But I'm talking about hoarding in the house.
Yeah, no, I'm setting the
Okay,
story
you're painting
for
a picture.
You. Yes,
all right,
correct. Yeah, so I'm saying her house is already tiny to begin with.
Okay, tiny house.
So she doesn't have a lot of space to put her shit on this lot.
Doesn't have a lot.
She doesn't have a lot for her stuff. So it's just like everywhere.
Is it like a pathway type bad?
Yeah, there's pathway.
Oh god.
There's pathway.
Trash, newspapers. Like, what's she hoarding? What's her game?
Yeah, there's trash. There's like random like little pieces of things that I don't even know what
Does
they
she have
are
animals?
that she could just like throw them away. Yeah, she has 4 cats.
Oh god. So there's just it's everywhere, isn't it?
And then with my little brother there, and actually my little sister who's 19, she moved back in with her boyfriend, and her baby, and her 2 cats in this tiny house. And so it's mostly like
a baby shouldn't be in that environment.
Yeah, but I don't. They don't pay me for my opinions.
Are you close to that sister?
I'm giving them. No, not particularly. That relationship's always been kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think.
Is she a daughter of the stepfather?
Yeah, and when she was growing up, she reminded me a lot of him, and I had a hard time with her. So you kind of
resented her too.
Yeah, I know, and that's something that I need to work on too. We have a much better relationship now.
Yeah.
As she's an adult, as she's coming into adulthood. But definitely when we were kids, I was not a nice sister. I wasn't mean. I just like ignored her. Like I didn't want anything to do with her because she just looked and acted so much like him.
You just hated her face.
Yeah. So sad.
That is sad.
It's so sad. It's not her fault. She hates him too, I'm sure.
I wonder if she does hate him. Do you know where the stepdad's at? Like, does anyone have relations with him?
Yeah, he still is in the same house.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's like a couple blocks away from my mom's house currently.
Wow.
So
that's crazy. Okay, so you go to Enterprise because you're in trouble. And so who do you live with there?
So my dad drove down from Enterprise that night that I ran away, kicked my door down, ripped me out of bed, and was cussing me out. Like, I don't even know what he said. I just know my dad is my dad's serious. A softie. Yeah, he's a big teddy bear. So the fact that he kicked my door down and tore me out of bed and was cussing at me, he cussed at me the whole ride to Enterprise at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I was fucked.
Oh, God.
And also the entrapment came with that too, because I was just like,
oh, totally.
I have no choice in this. Like, I'm being forced to go somewhere. I have no means of communications. My friends didn't even know what happened to me. They had no idea. My phone, everything got taken away. No one knew where I went.
So you couldn't communicate with your other friends?
No one even knew where I went. It was crazy. And then I was, just at first I was just forced to be there for the summer to see if I could like shape up. Yeah. And then I went back to visit my mom, I think towards the end of the summer, and just did the same shit I did before.
Of course.
I know. So then they sent me back to actually go to school there.
Oh, man. So how was that going to school in Enterprise?
It sucked. Junior year, I almost had no friends. I mean, it's a very Mormon dense area. And me coming from Vegas, piercings and tattoos. Like,
you had tattoos already at that age?
Yeah, I had a shoulder tattoo. Yeah. Yeah, the kids did not. Only the non-Mormon kids would actually talk to me. Yeah. So, and they weren't very good kids. So I was just like in this perpetual cycle.
Oh, just only having friends with bad kids.
Yeah. So senior year was better. I was actually going to move back after junior year. But I went down for the summer, did the same shit I did before. So they sent me to live in Enterprise again, finished senior year there. Senior year is better. I had a better group of friends. Yeah. They were all still guys. I never had like a girlfriend in school. I had maybe one. Jeez. Yeah, those girlfriends were hard, but they were all guys. So I ended up having a boyfriend. He was really nice. He was a great guy.
Did you decide to start your life as an adult in St. George then?
Yeah. So I was actually going to go back to Vegas for school.
Like for college or?
Yeah, for community college. I was going to go. But I think, my family didn't save any money for me for college. I had nothing. So I had to, go off of grants and FAFSA. So I think I ended up choosing St. George Dixie because it was so much cheaper because I was a resident. So I just ended up going with that. Moved out a week after I graduated.
I didn't know you went to school.
Yeah. I think I went for 2 years and then took a break, went back for a year, took a break.
So do you have,
took a break, went back.
Yeah. That talks about you in the book about when you went back to school.
I always kept going back, but then never finished anything.
So did you even get like, what's that first one called?
No, technically I have my associates. I've not gone to actually like get the certificate. I haven't graduated with it. But like I have all the credits that I technically have an associates. I just
don't have it.
I just don't have it.
So you don't have one then.
That's correct. Long story short.
How many people have done the work to get a degree and just thought, nah.
Yeah, I didn't, fuck it. That's probably like a math credit I need or something. That's probably why I didn't. I don't know. That's probably why I didn't finish it. I was like, I got to do math.
And then, so how did you get into the marketing stuff?
So I worked at Chili's. So that was my first job.
Yeah.
Like I said,
first job ever in your life?
First job ever, yeah. So I moved out a week after I graduated, went into student housing. My cousin ended up moving back down, and she was my roommate along with a couple other girls. That was some crazy times. That was crazy in Vegas times 10.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy. Because I was like, for the first time in my life, I was actually free.
Oh, yeah.
I went crazy.
Were you at like Rebel Creek or what?
I don't know what that is.
Where'd you live when you were in student housing?
Red Rock. Red Rock student housing.
Oh, yeah. Rebel Creek. I'm just older than you. That's probably what it was called originally.
It's always been, from what I understand, that's always been the party.
Across from Mesa Falls?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
A lot of minor consumptions over there.
It's crazy. And it was actually...
Yeah, we just go like knock on the doors.
Like, it was like a fun environment because you're like friends with everyone in your building. So we'd have like building parties. Like everyone was just like mobbing to other people's apartments, like partying there. And then they would go to the next one, snort an Adderall, go to the next one, go to work the next morning. Shit was crazy.
Adderall was around back then.
Oh, bet you.
Really?
It definitely was.
I don't think you're supposed to snort it.
Oh, we did. Unfortunately, we did. So I was working at Chili's at the time. That was my first job. I was there for 6 years. That's part of this craziness too. It was early college days where I was living, but then also like restaurant environments obviously aren't ideal. So there was a lot of drugs. There was a lot of partying. Everyone would go out for drinks after they had their shift. Like everyone smokes cigarettes.
I heard the reason everyone
break.
smokes is because it's the only way you can get a break.
Correct.
Because you otherwise like, I want a 10-minute break.
That's why I took out smoking.
They were like, no, you can't have one. But if like I got to smoke,
because everyone would go out all at once. Like this whole group of like the cool kids at Chili's would go out and have a smoke together.
So
if you
gross
didn't
to
do
think
it,
that
you're
the
just
food
sitting there.
handlers are like smoking. And,
oh yeah, have you ever noticed that your service reeks of cigarettes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they just got back from a smoke.
It's not
break.
good to eat out.
No, it's not.
When did you become a vegan?
Chili's was nasty too.
I actually love Chili's, but I know
it's
you
gross.
do,
but it's gross.
I know.
Maybe it's gotten better, but I doubt it.
When did you start being a vegan?
I think
because wasn't you at Chili's?
I think I started it. I started vegetarian, and I was also working at the hospital, so I tried other odd and end jobs in between because I had trying to leave Chili's and just never did. I know I was at the hospital at the time, and I chose to do vegetarian because I just didn't like meat. I never really loved it to begin with. I didn't eat bacon or pork or anything just because I already at that age I knew it was such a gross meat that it's just dirty. So I never ate it anyway. So I was like, why don't I just try the whole thing? Just not eat meat at all. Yeah.
So how long has it been since you've eaten meat?
Gosh, that was probably like when I went vegetarian, it had to be like 7 or 8 years ago.
Wow.
Something like that. And then a year after that is when I went vegan. But so the funny thing is I went for like a day. I went vegan for a day. And I went and got all the shitty, like what's not the word, supplement?
Oreos?
No, it's like alternatives to meat and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
And at that time, they didn't have as good as options as they have now.
Yeah.
It was like Daya, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's not a good brand.
Yeah, I can see the brand.
So I was like, I already knew what meat and cheese still tasted like. And I went and got all these like alternatives and tried to make something out of it. It was so nasty that I gave up that night and I went and got a fucking Starbucks with whole milk in it. And I came back home and my cousin was like, dude, you literally tried it for a day. Like fucking try harder. Yeah. I was like, God damn it, you're right. So then I tried again the next day and then I forced myself to just go a different route. I didn't need the alternatives and I just stuck with it.
I remember Megan made me buffalo cauliflower tacos.
Yum.
And I was like stoked. Like, oh yeah, this will be great, Like thinking they'd be like buffalo chicken tacos. And I ate it, and she was like, "What'd you think?" I was like,
Tastes like
"Tastes like
cauliflower.
cauliflower." I was so disappointed.
I remember that story.
I don't know why I thought it was going to be different. It
I
wasn't.
thought it was going to be meaty.
Yeah, I don't know. Just not that.
They make meaty things now.
I know they do, yeah. My sister-in-law will make a breaded cauliflower. That's actually pretty dope.
Yum.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yum.
Okay, so that brings us current today. Basically, that's a good backstory. So tell me what's something that's exciting you that you're working on right now.
Cody, I feel like the only thing that excites me right now is reading.
Okay, that's actually cool. Let's talk about that. So you just crossed over 50 books, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I just hit 51 this weekend.
That's amazing. I mean, most people won't read 51 books in their life.
I'm actually just addicted. It's probably unhealthy.
What's funny is I remember having a one-on-one with you like before you started, and you're like, I was like, "What are you doing for yourself?" And you're like, "Well, I love to read, but I don't do it anymore." Do you remember that? That was at Feel
I
Love?
remember.
And I was like, "Why don't you just read for 10 minutes in the morning?" And
I think so. I thought about this the other day. When I started doing my reading again, it was around my birthday, and I remember you guys were all going to try doing 75 hard.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, I don't really want to do that, but maybe I'll just do like the book thing. So I feel like I'm a part of it.
10 pages, yeah.
Yeah. So I started with 10 pages when you guys all started 75 hard.
Isn't that amazing how 10 pages can turn into reading 51 books in a year?
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens
crazy.
when you do something small, like 10 page. Because what happens is you read 10 and you're like, oh, it's 4 more pages to the chapter. Or,
might as well just finish it out.
You know
or
what I mean?
It's so good that you don't want to put it down.
Right. And then it just creates that. You've created now that system for yourself that you've read 51 books and you just got a brand new book tattoo.
I did. I love it. I'm a nerd.
I can't believe you read
nerd.
51 books. That's amazing.
And that was when I started that March, April last year.
Yeah.
And I've read at least 10 pages every day since that point.
Wow, that's incredible.
So you have a tattoo?
I have many tattoos, but I do have one on my knee that's all.
That's the book tattoo that we're referencing?
Yeah.
Yes. It says Lumos.
I was going to say, are you in a position to show it? But if it's on your knee, then never mind.
I can show you later. I'll pull up my leggings for you. But it's got the mountains for A Court of Thorn and Roses, if anyone knows that reference. And then it's got Lumos above it for Harry Potter. And then underneath it says Forever in the Twilight font. Big Twihard. I will fight someone. I love Twilight.
Oh my gosh.
Judge me. Big fan. I was a big fan in high school. Middle school. I had a Twilight themed birthday party.
Wow.
My room was plastered in Twilight photos. You know, like when you're a kid too, in middle school, you got the binders, you could put pictures in it.
Yeah.
All Twilight. All of it. I had t-shirts.
Wasn't there like a thing like Team the Werewolf guy or Team Vampire?
Oh, yeah.
Who were you?
God, I always fluctuated because I thought they were both sexy. I look now and I'm like, ooh, they're both terrible, but I love the books. They're both ugly.
They're terrible?
They're ugly.
Not the werewolf guy. He's not ugly. What's his name?
Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, he's not ugly.
He's not for me anymore. No. Neither of them are my type as an adult. I'm still a diehard, though.
You still watch the movies?
Yes, for sure.
So
those are comforts. And I read Twilight every Christmas, which is a nerd thing because in Twilight, she reads Wuthering Heights every Christmas. So I read Twilight every Christmas.
How interesting.
Because I just love that book so much.
Well, I always try and give Leah book recommendations, and she hates my books.
He doesn't read fiction.
So she never, I gave you that one book. How long did it take you to read it? 6 months?
Yeah, and to be honest, I skimmed that.
Leah!
Decided I might as well tell you now.
Because I kept giving you shit because I
did.
have like a library.
That's why I rushed through and I was like, all right, I'm just going to take the bullet points. You know
I have
what I mean?
the sticky notes. And so I say I was like, Leah, you checked this book out 6 months ago. And you're a fast reader. So you didn't even finish it. That breaks my heart.
No, I skimmed it. But even the skimming, I got a lot of good thoughts from.
That's how the books work.
Yeah, I even took notes on that one.
See?
And I skimmed it, so it still worked.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it works, that's the goal.
I just don't like nonfiction. It's just not for me.
I always ask people what's their favorite part of winning the moment, but I don't think you finished mine either.
No.
You can read 51 books in a year, but you can't find time to read my tiny little book.
I've read 2 chapters, I think. Oh, goodness. And I was in one of them already. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, you're in the book and you can't even read
I know.
So you probably don't have a favorite part of that.
My favorite part is the part I'm in.
Okay, so what's your favorite book of all time then? Twilight?
Yeah, probably. The first book.
Twilight started as a book, not as a movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably
Okay.
Twilight.
So then what's the biggest win you've ever had in your life?
It's going to probably sound cheesy, actually. It was kind of the first thing I thought of. So I'm just going to go with it. I think, honestly, the biggest win in my life has been Ty.
I thought you might say that.
To be honest. I mean, he's changed the projectile of my life in such a significant way. Like, I don't think I would have ended up doing any of like yoga,
First time you've
spiritual
seen
stuff,
a healthy
getting back
relationship.
yeah, first healthy relationship. We've had our ups and downs, so we've had to get through because of my trauma.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much that
Well,
I've
and he modeled
learned
stability. Like he had a house already, he had a job, he had a career, like all these things that didn't exist for you. And really through his relationship with me, it created the opportunity for you to be at Vibrant and then owning your own marketing company.
Yeah.
You know,
That
you
was,
had one
that was
before,
on my
but-
list too. Yeah. But I think, it really all stemmed back to Ty. Yeah. I don't
really
know
cool.
where I would be or the type of person that I would be because I was such a hot mess. Even then, I thought I was improving, but I look back at that, I'm like, I was getting somewhere in a small way, but being with him, my life has just changed in such a significant way, like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. He's just completely changed my life.
How cool is that?
So-
What a great thing.
Yeah.
He's going to love
I love that little shit.
Yeah, that's great. Ty's he's a stud.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what's your biggest loss?
Give me like some examples.
No, I can't. It's your answer, not mine. It can, but loss is however you define it, So I don't want to get in the way of defining for you what that should be. But if you look back on your life, what's that thing that sticks out as like, oh, this was my biggest loss?
Gosh, yeah, I feel like there's not that I'm not taking accountability, but there's a lot of stuff that's happened in my life that I did not have control over. So
Sure.
I'd say maybe one thing that's a big loss that I'm learning still to this day is like how to manage money. Because
Yeah.
I never learned. I've got terrible credit. I had
That's why
so
I gave
many
you that book.
cars, and I had all those negative equities on my car. I'm just, So I'm better now than ever before. But like
That's
too.
that's why I gave you that book, because the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Yeah, and it did give me a lot of tips. There was things that I actually took from that.
I know. I think Mallory just barely read it or something like that, because
What is it called?
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Yeah.
It's on their coffee table out there.
Nice. Yeah,
That's a
it
good
was
one.
good. I
a
did
great book.
get a lot of stuff from it.
That was the first book that I read for like my self-development.
Yeah.
Is a
like
springboard for sure. Okay, well, I think that's great. I think that's a good, vulnerable, great answer where you took something that you ultimately are in control of. Now, of course, your environment can make that more challenging, but you can educate yourself on how to be better at it. So I think that's great.
And I think you've helped a lot too. Like I've
Sure.
done the budgeting thing and just been better about, not spending and saving and just, investing. So I'm still learning. I am certainly no expert.
It's always a
Not
journey,
even
though.
close.
You know what I mean? It really is.
Yeah. It's been good though.
What about a mentor in your life? Have you had someone who was able to be a positive mentor for you, and what were the impacts of that?
Man, can I say Ty again?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought you might
like-
say Ty.
Yeah, but you were second too. I was thinking you were
Yayo.
Ty, honestly. Because you've taught me a lot of like business, practicality,
Yeah.
like financial stuff like that. And then Ty's taught me a lot, just life stuff,
Yeah.
spiritual stuff, like
What do you mean when you say
awakening type of
spiritual?
stuff.
What do you mean by that?
Like connecting to the divine that's in you.
Yeah.
That's not something I was journeying into. But I didn't really know like what my religion was, what I believed in.
And what would you say it is now?
If I had to lean towards one, I would say I'm closest to Buddhism.
Yeah.
Probably. Just because I practice that in a lot of ways.
Sure.
But I think, he taught me a lot. Just, with spiritualness, like connecting with yourself, connecting with your inner eye,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then just in life too, I think my like political beliefs were way different before.
Yeah.
Because I was so blind to so many things.
Sure.
And just, a lot of the crazy things that happen
That's
in
so
life.
funny
He was
because
a
it made me think of
conspiracy guy.
when you came in the office, we're like, oh no, we better not talk about this.
Oh, I remember this. We were in the car on the way back
Yeah.
from the tourism conference, I think.
Is that what it was?
I think so. We were like kind of pussyfooting around the topic.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
then I think I was like, fuck it, guys. I voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I'm a vegan. I'm a yogi.
Yeah, with
and
all
I
these
voted for
tattoos,
Trump.
it did not fit the bill.
I did not fit the bill.
It's so funny. So what is your favorite conspiracy theory then currently?
There's a few. I'm not as good at arguing this stuff though as Eli and Ty is.
Oh, I don't want you to argue. I'm just wondering.
Believe this stuff.
I'm just wondering, like, what's the thing that you're like, oh, this.
You know, yeah, I guess a classic one would be like the Illuminati. I'm a diehard believer in that. I think that's absolutely 100%.
Oh, you're the one who
true.
told me about like the celebrity stuff at first, I think.
I actually just ripped that Band-Aid off for Sarah.
Oh, you did?
She was like, no. She probably thought it was crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to stomach that stuff.
But, I mean, yeah, I believe in it. 100%. I believe in that stuff. I think that's 100% real.
Like, what do you think about the Epstein stuff?
Real? Definitely real.
Why do you think that list never came out?
Well, I mean, look at the people who are running our country.
Look,
Biden's a fucking puppet. He's not even alive.
Who's on that list?
I don't know who's on that list. A lot of people.
Yeah, it's got to be an extensive list.
A lot of people in power.
Shocking
they were the ones
that never came out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones in power, so.
And supposedly there was like all this audio and visual, like, content, you know?
Yeah,
Where
there's
is it?
still stuff. There are people that I've known that can access the dark web. I don't know how one does that.
I think it's
But
through
there's
AOL.
like videos on stuff through it's like Yahoo. Hit up
I
being
think it's just www.darkweb.com, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what that is. Like some specific part of the web that you have to have like programming experience to be able to access. But
that's
I've
too
heard
much
that
for
there
me.
is a lot of videos on there, like that whole Hillary thing with the little red face that she wears on her clothing and stuff.
What?
Yeah. There's like a video of her like beating some child and then they like tore her face off and she put her face on her face.
Oh my God.
And I saw part of the video. It was traumatizing.
I shouldn't have asked that question.
I know, I'm saying.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
Yeah, you asked.
Oh gosh, I regret it. Okay, so last question, most important one. How do you define success?
I mean, my initial thought would just be contentment, I think.
What's the
Like, it doesn't
definition
really
of
know.
contentment?
I don't think it really matters how much you have or what you have. I think is like whatever you have
I think
in your life makes you content and happy with where you are. and
Actually,
what you
yeah,
have.
that's actually a great answer. So the definition of contentment is a state of happiness and satisfaction.
Yeah.
So when you said contentment in my mind, that meant like average.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Like
meant
that's how I would have perceived it. But the definition of a state of happiness and satisfaction, that's a pretty good place to be.
yeah.
That's actually a great answer.
Because it just doesn't matter what you have or where you're at. Like,
No,
I think
it
as long
doesn't.
as you feel
Absolutely.
content and you feel happy in that space, like,
Yeah.
I may be struggling financially at times, but in general, like, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I'm very content with where my life is, where I live,
Yeah.
with my relationship. I'm very happy. So
Yeah,
I
mean,
think that's the ultimate success. It's not defined by money and possessions.
I
think it's
totally
defined
agree.
by how happy you are.
happiness and satisfaction.
The pursuit of happiness.
Man, I should have known a writer was going to throw just a word down that I had to look up.
That's not even a big word.
I know, but I didn't know the meaning of it. I don't know why I thought that meant like average. Let's see.
I know. I feel like I know what word you're thinking of.
This is interesting. Then it gives like an example, and it says he found contentment in living a simple life in the country. It's like they're trying to downplay the word contentment. But if it means happiness and satisfaction, why has it got to be a simple country? Why couldn't it be a dope country?
Yeah, right. It could be anything. You could be in a mansion and you're content. Great.
Could be in a box.
You could be in a box, and if you're happy, great.
Yeah. And some people are, you know?
Yeah,
I think that's the important thing is defining it for yourself, you know?
I agree with that.
Okay, well, you've shared a lot of stuff today. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
I think maybe just looking back at my journey, I would say, yeah, just don't give up, I think.
Yeah.
Because had I given up after all of those things that came one after another, like I would not be where I am.
Yeah, I was just going to ask actually, as you were answering that, was what's your advice for someone who's like went through or had a similar experience to you? Like if someone is a young adult now who had that trauma, do you have any advice for them on what you would recommend outlets for them to work to recovery?
Yeah, I think everyone's outlets are different.
Yeah.
You know, what worked for me might not work for someone else. Yoga's not for everyone. Breathwork might not be for everyone. It might be Jesus. It might be church. It might be going to the gym and lifting. It might be talk therapy. It might be ayahuasca. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think probably just finding what your therapy is for you and what works for you. And then, yeah, just be willing to fall apart.
Oh, that's great.
I think that's
a great one. That's going to be a social clip. Mark that one down. That's good. I like that. Well, and I think also just to say, find your outlet. Who knows what it's going to be, but be willing to explore and find something that will give you that path that you're looking for.
Be willing to fall apart. Be willing to be vulnerable and be open. I wasn't raised that way. I always shoved everything down. I've had to learn. It's tough. It's hard. But being open and being vulnerable and being willing to fall apart allows you to put the pieces back together in the way that they should have been in the first place. Or if not better. That's
really good. I think let's end on that. That's perfect. Well, Leah, thank you so much for being vulnerable and open today. I mean, you jumped right into it. It only took 12 minutes. We're fully in the heat of it. So thank you for that. And I really appreciate you taking this on short notice.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Didn't regret it.
Good. Maybe wait till you listen to it.
Yeah, I'll be
Let
like,
me know.
oh, God.
All right. Well, thank you, Leah.